Hi, this is VINEET Pandeey and today we're going to solve the RPSC 2021 paper 1. The screen is in front of you and this paper belongs to Rajasthan. I also come from Rajasthan, so I personally believe there should be something in Rajasthani. So राम राम जी, थारे सामने विनीत पांडे। मैं पेपर सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करूंगा और मैं अनुमानगढ़ को हूँ। बहुत सारा क्वेश्चन एक माइन जी का है, बट बहुत टफ क्वेश्चन है, तो थारी कोई गलती को नहीं। आरपीएससी पेपर तो बना दियो, पर मैं सवाल करूं जगह पे पेपर बना के बैठे है भाई। मैं बहुत सवाल करूं कि यार थे पढ़ाओ को नहीं जना, क्यों पूछो ही इसी चीज़ा टफ चीज़ा ना थारे कोई सिलेबस की चीज़ है। तो बहुत सारा क्वेश्चन बाहर का है, बहुत सारा क्वेश्चन टफ है। और मैं थाने एक बात और कह दूँ, जैसे पासबुक को तैयारी करने लग रहे हो, कोई गाइड बुक को तैयारी करने लग रहे हो और सोचने लग रहे हो भी कोई पासबुक और गाइड हूँ मेरा एग्जाम निकल जाओ, तो भाई साहब थे हो ब्रह्म में गलती करने लग रहे हो। पेपर जिको है वो नेट लेवल है, नेट भी टफ लेवल ही मानो। तो थारे सामने पेपर सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करूंगा। दूसरी चीज़, मेरा व्रत राखेड़ो है नवरात्रि को, तो थोड़ी मेरी एनर्जी थन कम लाग शिविकाल की रोटी कौन खाड़ी, आज भी कौन नहीं, अगले 7-8 दिन को थान ध्यान है, माता साथ है, तो मैं कोशिश करूंगा। तीसरी चीज़ थाने एक बात और बता दूँ, मैं ट्राई करूंगा भी थाने एक्सप्लेनेशन दे सकूँ, थोड़ी थोड़ी चीज़ें एक्सप्लेन करूँ, पर थारा क्वेश्चन बहुत है। 150 क्वेश्चन एक पेपर में, जना दूसरा में 150 और है, तो 300 क्वेश्चन तो आराम सॉल्व कर कौन सकूँ। और पहली वीडियो और शरीर जो तो साथ दे सी मैं सॉल्व करूंगा। मेरी पूरी कोशिश है कोई 50, 60, 70 क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर दूँ। पर थे और जितना भी राजस्थानी स्टूडेंट हो, आरपीएससी का सिंसियर स्टूडेंट हो, चैनल सब्सक्राइब कर लो कि थान पूरा पेपर सॉल्व कर दूंगा। मैं थोड़ा 2-3 दिन और लाग सके। आज पेपर सॉल्व कर गए और मैं थान मैक्सिमम 24 घंटा में बाकी आंसर की दे दूंगा। बाद में जो डिटेल सॉल्यूशन है आप बाद में कर सका, डिटेल एक्सप्लेनेशन थान कर सकूँ, मैं दे सकूँ। और दूसरी चीज़ एक बात और है कि डोंट टेक दिस आंसर की सीरियसली, ओके। आई एम गिविंग माई बेस्ट, मैं थान बढ़िया आपके तरीकों बढ़िया सॉल्व कर दूंगा। पर फिर मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है, ऑफिशियल रिक्वेस्ट है, वेट करो भाई। आरपीएससी बंगे आंसर की आवेगी, बंगा आपका आंसर आवेगा और बे ट्रस्टेड अथॉरिटी है, यानी कि दिस इज अ डिक्लेरेशन फ्रॉम माई साइड दैट डू नॉट टेक माई आंसर की एज द फाइनल आंसर की। सो चलो जी, राजस्थानी होगी राम राम, अब चला इंग्लिश में। So guys, there is a paper in front of you and we're gonna solve it. I also got a copy. This paper copy has been arranged to me by one of my student. And let's talk about the questions. Now repeating once again, as you can see some markings, these are the questions already marked by my students. ठीक है, जिस स्टूडेंट ने किया है उसने मार्क किया है, नो डाउट ब्रिलियंट स्टूडेंट है, बट स्टिल मैं सजेस्ट करूंगा गो फॉर माई आंसर्स सो दैट देयर विल बी नो कंफ्यूजन। नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द क्वेश्चन नंबर 1. So I'll be giving you the direct answers with some explanations also. और कुछ चीजें आपको मैं यहाँ पे आसानी से समझा भी दूंगा. So we go for these things. I have noted down certain things. The question goes is G.M. Hopkins derived the concept of inscape and instress from the idols of the medieval philosopher. First of all, I'll also give you the honest opinion. People when they study Hopkins, they simply remember that he used sprung rhythm, inscape, instress. There's something minor thing. Okay, but they have asked a question which is not easily available even in Google. You will have to read a lot, you will have to search a lot. So technically ये मुझे भी नहीं आता था, पहला ही क्वेश्चन है, मुझे भी नहीं आता था, कोई बड़ी चीज नहीं है, but the answer is done Scottish. Now if you have a pen and paper, कुछ नोट कर लो, आपके लिए है। Hopkins, he himself accepted that he was influenced by John Duns Scotus. ये आंसर आपका करेक्ट है। ओके, यू गो फॉर दिस वन। दूसरा, I'll keep telling you about the questions, question standard, how to read, how to solve. Question number 2. One more thing. The paper setters of RPSC exams, they decided the writers first and then chose the questions. जिस तरीके से लाइन से सेम राइटर से क्वेश्चन कर रहे हैं ना, ऐसे लगता है कि क्वेश्चन से पहले उन्होंने राइटर डिसाइड किया है। जैसे किसी ने ऑर्डर किया हो कि हॉपकिंस के 5 क्वेश्चन करो, फूको के 5 क्वेश्चन करो। दे हैव चोजन राइटर्स एंड देन दे हैव गॉन फॉर द क्वेश्चन पेपर्स, क्वेश्चन जो आपके बनाए हैं उन्होंने। और सेकंड थिंग, कुछ उन्होंने वेबसाइट से क्वेश्चन भी कॉपी किए हुए हैं, मल्टीपल वेबसाइट से। बट ओके, वेबसाइट से हमें लेना देना नहीं है, अदरवाइज आपको लगेगा कि ओ सर वेबसाइट बता दो, नेक्स्ट टाइम वहीं से पढ़ेंगे, ऐसे रहोगे तो फेल हो जाओगे। सेकेंड, जॉन ड्राइडन क्या लिखा है, रोट हिज डिफेंस of an essay on dramatic poesy in response to an attack by. देखो भाई, John Dryden wrote his defense of an essay on dramatic poesy in response to an attack by. बहुत टफ क्वेश्चन है ये, बहुत टफ क्वेश्चन है. कैसे टफ क्वेश्चन है? बिकॉज यू विल थिंक अबाउट द कनेक्शन ऑफ बायरन एंड ड्राइडन, फिर कनेक्शन ऑफ वॉल्टर स्कॉट एंड ड्राइडन, थॉमस शेडवेल, इनके सबके कनेक्शन ढूंढने पड़ेंगे. यू विल हैव टू फाइंड आउट ये क्या हुआ. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर माई स्टूडेंट्स? अगर आप मेरे ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट हो, रिमेंबर आई ऑलवेज टेल यू अबाउट द बर्थ डेट्स, टाइमिंग्स. आई टेल यू दैट दीज डेट्स आर गोइंग टू हेल्प यू इन एग्जाम्स. यूज योर लॉजिक, लॉजिक यूज करो. ड्राइडन born 1631, died 1700. कब मर गया ड्राइडन? 1700 में ड्राइडन मर चुका था. बुक कब आई? ऐसे ड्रामेटिक पोइजी 1668-69, फाइनल पब्लिकेशन 69, यानी कि 1669 की बुक. बायरन कब पैदा हुआ था? बायरन वॉज बॉर्न 1788. नो कनेक्शन, बायरन का कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है. वॉल्टर स्कॉट बॉर्न 1771, नो कनेक्शन, 100 ईयर्स के बाद बॉर्न है ये. अब बचा कौन? रॉबर्ट हावर्ड एंड थॉमस शेडवेल. रॉबर्ट हावर्ड, इफ यू हैव गॉन थ्रू माय लेक्चर्स, अगर आपने ईस्टर्न ड्रामेटिक पोइजी मेरा क्रिटिसिज्म का लेक्चर सुना है, माय ऑनलाइन क्लासेस, रॉबर्ट हावर्ड इज द सेम पर्सन हु हैज बीन मेंशन्ड एज क्राइट्स. क्राइट्स नाम से जो बंदा है वो रॉबर्ट हावर्ड है. इट इज अ रिप्लाई टू हिम. रिमेंबर, दिस इज द राइट आंसर. नाउ वी गो फॉर नेक्स्ट वन. जी.एम. हॉपकिंस, वंस अगेन क्वेश्चन है, आई विल रीड इट फॉर यू. G.M. Hopkins described Alfred Tennyson pejoratively as because of what Hopkins considered uninspired poetry. एक क्वेश्चन पूछता हूं, how many of you know what does this mean? कितने लोगों को पता है इसका मतलब क्या है? अगर आपकी इंग्लिश वीक है, आपको वोकैब नहीं आती है, तो दिस इज द मेन थिंग. आपका क्वेश्चन वहीं गलत हो गया. अगर आपको ये पता ही नहीं हो क्या रहा है, इट्स कॉल्ड डिसअप्रूविंग, लाइक डिनाइंग समथिंग. Disapproving as something became of what Hopkins considered uninspired poetry. It was not an easy question. Even I had to search in depth because these writers were writing letters to each other. And obviously when you read, when we prepare, we don't go in that much depth. हम में से कौन किसी के letters पढ़ रहा होता है? So I found the answer. The answer is Parnassians and I'll tell you how. Okay. So इसको note कर लो. Note it down. So that आपको श्योर होगा कि सर ने बकायदा रिसर्च करके किया है. सो रिमेंबर द फर्स्ट थिंग इज हॉपकिंस वाज अ फैन ऑफ टेनिसन, एक फैन था. पार्नेशियस मीन्स पोइटिक स्टाइल, पोइटिक इंस्पिरेशन, पोइटिक रिलेटेड. हॉपकिंस रोट अ लेटर टू हिज फ्रेंड रॉबर्ट ब्रिजेस इन 1864 एंड टॉक्ड अबाउट टेनिसन and 3 types of language: language of inspiration, Parnassian, which is poetic language, and Castilian language. All the new students are going to join me for net and gate batch. ये सब आपको पढ़ा दूंगा, don't worry. So first, it was a tough question for here, for all the students, but for our next thing, next future, we'll be teaching it to everyone. ये हम सबको पढ़ाएंगे. अब question number 4, थोड़ा मैं साइड आ जाता हूँ, आपको दिखेगा. So question number 4 is Dr. Samuel Johnson and his Lives of Poets. It's important work. We have taught this thing. Critical of this poet and his work. See, remember this thing that if you just use common sense, Dr. Samuel Johnson has talked about metaphysical school of poetry taking the reference of Cowley, not Donne. He praised Cowley. Abraham Cowley को praise करके metaphysical school of poetry का ही उसने development किया था. So if you remember this thing, he is saying is not critical. Johnson was a critic. Johnson used to criticize everyone. Milton, Shakespeare, सबको criticize किया है. But one person was not criticized. Why? Abraham Cowley, because he loved this metaphysical style. Now, I have some information for you. He has criticized Lycidas. Right answer is this. I'm giving you extra knowledge so that you can note it for future. For Lycidas, Johnson wrote one of the books which the readers admires and lay down and forgets to take up again. This is Johnson's comment on Lycidas. This is the best part of paper solving. You solve one question, you learn a lot of other things. Go for next one. And remember, the answer is this one. Now, next one. If you think my student has already answered, she is a JRF and a JRF topper. But I won't reveal the name. And I'm sure she must be watching it. The poet's mind is in fact a receptacle for seeking and storing. मैं यहीं पढ़ लेता हूँ ना. Seeking and storing up numberless feelings, phrases, images which remain there until all the particles which can unite to form a new compound are present together. See, the question is these lines are from. So सीधी सी बात है, if I tell you that you know these things, these options, obviously none of you has read this, None of you has read this. You must have talked about this, and none of you has read this. आप में से ये तीन तो किसी ने नहीं पढ़ा है. Now the answer. See, the poet's mind is in fact, he is talking about poetry. Walter Peter did not talk about poetry. He talked about the aesthetic beauty in overall literature, not particularly poet. Second thing, John Ruskin, modern painters, he's not talking about poets. So we got two options left. This is called elimination style. ये अपनी online classes में हम यही सिखाते हैं कि how to choose your answer. Answer नहीं है तो भी निकालो. Now, receptacle for seeking and storing up numberless feelings, phrases, images. स्टोर करना है. क्या करना है? बहुत सारी फीलिंग्स, फ्रेजेस, इमेजेस सबको स्टोर करो, which remain there until all the particles which can unite to form a new compound are present together. Talking about new style, new compound, talking about something which is mixed up with multiple things is a modern style. This is tradition and individual talent. Arnold always believed in following classics. Arnold was not in the support of new images, collection of multiple emotions, feelings arranged together. Eliot did that. In tradition and individual talent, he said we should take inspiration from tradition, but individual talent is that how far you go to collect materials from various sides and write it. So अगर आपने traditional and individual talent मेरे audios में पढ़ा हुआ है या मेरे explanations के साथ सीखा हुआ है, तो this was a quite answer, simple answer. I'm taking the credit. ये पढ़ा रखा है हमने. ओके आप बोलोगे सर ने क्रेडिट नहीं लिया, सर अच्छे इंसान है, सर क्रेडिट नहीं ले रहे. नहीं भाई, हम क्रेडिट लेंगे, पढ़ाया तो क्रेडिट तो बनता है. नेक्स्ट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 6. ओके, Dryden in his essay on dramatic poesy does not debate on. भाई सिंपल सी बात है, everybody teaches dramatic poesy, so either it's me or other teachers, credit सबका है. Quite easy. Question is does not debate, नहीं बात करता है. The unities of time, place and action, all my online students, remember I talked about Lycidius Neander debate. Where do we get Lycidius Neander debate? In this work, Lycidius says that French dramas are simple drama following all the unities, and Neander defends it. He says maintaining unities is not possible. It means we talk about this thing. Then the rigid distinctions between genres, different genres, different ages. Lycidius and Neander discuss this thing also. They talk about that which kind of poetry was better, which age was better, classicism was better, or the new modern writers who are better. This has been talked. Third, the use of rhyme. Here Neander has a debate with Kreitz. Kreitz speaks in the favor of rhyme. Lycidius says that there should be fixed rhyming in drama, and Neander says no, there should be blank verse. But something they have not talked about. This is catharsis and poetic justice. So even if you're not sure about this thing, we are sure ये बाकी तीनों से बात हो चुकी है. So the right answer is catharsis and poetic justice. Now we go for question number 7. The sense of an ending is a book. A repeated question of net exam. Quite easy. पढ़ा रखा है मैंने. In fact, when I taught this thing, I have told that this was asked in net exam. There are two writers who have written. Two writers. दो writers ने book लिख रखी है. Frank Kermode, we have this thing right here. दूसरा Booker Awardee writer है. I'll find the name and let you know. Julian Barnes, because अब हम भी थोड़े बूढ़े हो गए तो मुझे याद नहीं आया था. Julian Barnes, दो लोगों ने लिखा है. When this was asked in net exam, I went for Julian Barnes. Why? Because the sense of an ending and a sense of an ending, there's a difference. The sense of an ending, a sense of an ending, there's a difference. But if you simply watched my special video on Caribbean literature which was shot in Goa, अगर देखा है तो वहां पे भी Frank Kermode sense of ending, I have told it's the most important book. In short, पढ़ाया है, easy question है, ये आंसर. ना अगर इसकी कोई एक्स्ट्रा डिटेल आपको देनी है, 1967 कंप्लीट टाइटल है स्टडी इन द थ्योरी ऑफ फिक्शन, एंड जो जूलियन बार्न्स की बुक थी दैट वाज कॉल्ड द सेंस ऑफ एन एंडिंग, 2011 नॉवेल. सो दिस इज द राइट आंसर. क्वेश्चन नंबर 8. द बुक अ ग्रामर ऑफ मोटिव्स. डोंट वरी, इवन आई डिडंट नो दिस आंसर बिफोर सॉल्विंग. ये मुझे भी नहीं आता था. You know, it's not wrong to be wrong, and we don't know everything, but yes, if you know there is something different for you, you must learn it. See, I started searching it for you. The right answer is Kenneth Burke, The extra detail is he is American literary theorist. Note it down, note kar lo. Grammar of Motives is the trilogy. It has two more books, a rhetoric of motives, a symbolic of motives. So all the new students who are going to be the part of next class, we are going to work this. I never leave any question. So we're gonna work on all these things. हम ये करेंगे. See, I got the new question, you got the new question. Question number 9. ड्राइडन्स, देखा ड्राइडन के पीछे पड़ गए हैं. अगर राजस्थानी बोलूँ तो ड्राइडन का लारा पड़ गया सारा. Dryden, an essay on dramatic poesy, was written in counter to remark made by Samuel Sorberer. Okay, काफी अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. About the English stage, who else other than Dryden replied the charge? See, the question is that Dryden wrote essay on dramatic poesy because one person, Samuel Sorberer, made some attack on English stage, means English drama. The question is who other person was there to attack with him. Now the question is quite easy. Use VINEET Pandey style. Okay. Samuel Johnson, Dr. Samuel Johnson, born 1709. Dryden died in 1700. After Dryden's death, 9 years he was born. It means no connection. Okay. Jonathan Swift. Let's talk about his birth date. I think 1667 born है. कब born है? He was born 1667. When did the book came? 1668. So when the book came, he was only 1 year old. So technically, दो option आपके चले गए. Now our favorite Alexander Pope, born 1688. Book कब आई थी? 1668. 20 साल के बाद पैदा हुआ है. कौन सा आंसर है आपके पास? That's why when you join a coaching class with brain, मेरे जैसे की, ये simple answer है. I am honest. I never heard this name. I never heard this name, but I know the answer. This is the reason I tell you कि chronology पे बहुत काम करो, वो आपको indirectly काम आ जाएगी. Chronology बहुत जल्दी काम आती है. Okay, and let's see if I have some extra details for you. अगर कुछ note किया है मैंने. Okay, these both people were Royal Society members. This guy were the members of Royal Society. Because when I solve the paper, I always make notes for me so that I can learn new things. आपको पढ़ना है. Most welcome to the classes. Question number 10. On some technical elements, style in literature is an essay written by. It's a tough question. Why it's a tough question, I'll tell you. It is not easily available. That is the reason my student, who is a brilliant student, has circled this thing. So it's R.L. Stevenson. Even I didn't know it, so no credit. And it's a randomly asked, unnecessary question. I'm telling you. Tell RPSC paper setters that if they are asking unnecessary question, why are you asking these kind of unnecessary question when you don't even teach? दोस्तों, अगर आप गाइड बुक से पढ़ रहे हो, पासबुक से पढ़ रहे हो, लोकल कोचिंग जिसमें आपका जो टीचर है उसने भी कभी बाहर की यूनिवर्सिटीज नहीं देखी हैं, आपकी कोई गलती नहीं, आपको पता ही नहीं है ये सब कहाँ से आ रहा है. R.L. स्टीवेंसन का एक बुक है एसे, उसका फर्स्ट आर्टिकल है ये. I'll give you the detail. वैसे ये मुझे भी नहीं पता, ऐसा नहीं कि सर आपको भी नहीं पता, बात तो सही है, मुझे भी नहीं पता, बट ये unnecessarily randomly asked है. I was talking to my student, I told her that those who have not gone for any coaching, any good coaching, even me or others, उनके लिए तो है ही नहीं पेपर. This is high level. आपके साथ मजाक हुआ, आपको पूरा नेट का पेपर दे दिया उठा के. This is the first essay in the book of Art of Writing. He wrote Art of Writing. This lecture is the first essay. First है ये. पूछो कौन से सिलेबस में कौन पढ़ाता है. They have asked something जो उनको नहीं आता है. The paper setters also have no idea about these things. बस मुंह उठाया, पेपर बना दिया and injustice कर रहे हैं. Anyway, this is clearly taught. I teach William Hazlitt. I take the lecture and this is easy. Characters in Shakespeare's plays. William Hazlitt has written, he defended the neoclassical approach, fought against it. See, Samuel Johnson and others criticized Shakespeare on the basis of neoclassical approach. Hazlitt replied it by supporting Shakespeare from romantic point of view. Okay, if I have the detail, I'll give it to you. It's a 1817 book, a reply to Samuel Johnson and other neoclassical approaches. And yes, this is the first English language study of Shakespeare in German style. First English language study of Shakespeare in German style. Question number 12. ओके और वैसे ये पढ़ा रखा है, आई एम गोइंग टू टेक क्रेडिट, ये सब पढ़ा रखा है, ये भी पढ़ा रखा है। ओके इसको देखते हैं। विच नोटोरियस क्रिटिक ऑफ शेक्सपियर that his plays were trivial, positively bad, and what was the title of the work and essay? See, they're talking about notorious critics of Shakespeare. Tolstoy was a notorious critic. It's a simple thing. Tolstoy hated Shakespeare. This is the reason George Orwell wrote a reply, Tolstoy, Lear and other fools. George Orwell ने Tolstoy को fool बोला था. So we have the direct answer in front of us. G.B. Shaw was a good critic, not hating Shakespeare. He used to hate. J.R. Tolkien, Tolkien is one of the normal writers. Okay, अब आप बोलोगे सर ने अच्छी अच्छी बुक लिखी है, yes, हॉलीवुड मूवीज के लिए अच्छी बुक्स हैं, बट टेक्निकली नॉट अ गुड क्रिटिक, तो ये तो है ही नहीं. डी क्विंसी, इट इज अ स्टडी, इट इज नॉट अ अटैक. ये क्या कह रहे हैं, नोटोरियस क्रिटिक. द परफेक्ट आंसर इज लियो टॉल्स्टॉय. टॉल्स्टॉय अटैक्ड शेक्सपियर. नाउ लेट्स सी मेरे पास क्या इंफॉर्मेशन है. First critic to introduce philosophy and psychology of, okay, I was going for Leo Tolstoy. Orwell wrote Leo Tolstoy and Other Fools. And second thing you have to remember that Leo Tolstoy hated Shakespeare like hell. He wrote this book in 1906. वो बहुत hate करता था. आपके question में answer है notorious critic. And all those who remember my lecture of George Orwell, or you remember this thing that Tolstoy used to hate him in Russian's lecture, it's quite easy for you. आपके लिए easy है ये question. And yes, many of you must be saying, सर कह रहे हैं हमारे लेक्चर से आया, हमारे लेक्चर से आया, सर तो आरपीएससी पढ़ाते नहीं. Yes, I don't teach RPSC. I'll tell you why. I thought RPSC is easy, उसको क्या पढ़ाना है, बहुत आसान सा एग्जाम है. But now I seriously think I should go for special classes of RPSC. Level अच्छा है. This level is like net JRF. According to St. Coleridge, the function of a critic is, if any of you remember my lectures on criticism, if you remember that Coleridge was in support of appreciative criticism. A critic's job is to praise the writer, adore the writer, find the beautiful thing and make it easy for the reader. That is called appreciative criticism, developed by Coleridge. अगर आपको मेरा लेक्चर याद है तो quite simple. To interpret and judge, no. To appreciate and to interpret, yes. Praise करो और अच्छी चीजें सीखो, that is the right answer. To evaluate and judge, no, ये neoclassicals करते थे. To value and devalue, no, neoclassicals करते थे. See, यहाँ पे अगर आप इसको कट कर दो, इसको कट कर दो, you got the right answer. बाकी तीनों एक जैसे हैं. If you don't have the right answer, remember these things, that these three are technically talking about the same thing. To judge, to judge, to judge. This is the right answer. Appreciative criticism, I am taking credit, मैंने पढ़ा रखा है. Question number 14. On the artificial comedy, Rajasthan set 2014, first time I saw a question. Artificial comedy, restoration, neoclassicals, they were criticized by Charles Lamb. Easy question, I repeatedly teach my students. जिसने भी मेरा चार्ल्स लैम्ब का लेक्चर सुना है या रेस्टोरेशन एज का लेक्चर सुना है, इट्स एन इजी आंसर. ऑन द आर्टिफिशियल कॉमेडी ऑफ द लास्ट सेंचुरी इज एन एसे रिटन बाय चार्ल्स लैम्ब. शी इज माय स्टूडेंट. देखो सही सही हो रहे हैं. ओके, गो फॉर नेक्स्ट वन. एंड यस, दिस वाज पब्लिश्ड इन एसेज ऑफ इलिया. एक्स्ट्रा नॉलेज, इसका भी एक्स्ट्रा नॉलेज दे ही देता हूं. क्वेश्चन नंबर 13 का पॉइंट तो बना ही रखा है मैंने. S.T. Coleridge is called the first critic to introduce philosophy and psychology in criticism. इसको बैक करके देख लेना. Go for next one. व्रत की वजह से एक तो ताकत नहीं है, पर माता is helping me. So question number 15. Which of the following concept was not included in those that I. Richards used to substantiate interpretive criticism? इनमें से कौन सी ऐसी चीज है? See, we are talking about I. Richards, a person directly connected to practical criticism, new criticism, or the founding father of literary theories. अगर हम practical criticism की बात करें, founding father है, basic writer है. अब the question आता है, which of the following concept was not included? Metaphor का study इसने किया हुआ, he has done metaphor study. Okay, in fact, when you talk about, he talks about double metaphor, references. Then ambiguity, it has been studied by Emerson, I. Richards, they have developed this thing. Elusiveness, they work on language, that how language can give multiple meanings, meaning of meanings by I. Richards. ये तीनों कर रखे हैं. Pastis is the right answer. Pastis is not a language. It is a style when you take multiple references from multiple sources with no proper structure at all. If you remember my lectures, easy hai. If you don't, at least remember the lecture of Wasteland. Wasteland is written in Pasti style, postmodern style, where I took a Hindi reference. कहीं की ईंट कहीं का रोड़ा, भानुमति ने कुनबा जोड़ा. That was the reference. Pestis is not a proper language where you can study. But yes, metaphor is the part of the language. Elusiveness is the part of the language. Meaning, multiple meaning. And ambiguity. William Emerson, 7 Types of Ambiguity, was the friend of I. Richard. They have all studied this thing. Easy hai, बहुत easy. Question number 16. Whoever the following has not contributed to the canon of structuralist literary criticism. इनमें से कौन structuralist literary criticism का part नहीं है? Simple है. First of all, if you remember Claude Lévi-Strauss, anthropology के ऊपर जिसकी बहुत सारी books हैं, we have taught. If you remember my lectures, you know Strauss is a structuralist. Vladimir Propp, narratology, morphology in the folktale, the part of structuralism. अब question आता है Algirdas Grimas. I just heard this name, but I have not read it. So, but do we know this writer? Yes, Argentinian short story writer. Short story के lecture में मिल जाएगा. Borges, बहुत अच्छा और बहुत famous writer है. इसका कोई लेना देना नहीं है. He is not connected to lit theories, so he is the right answer. But I have found this man also. So let's see if I have something for you. He is from Lithuania, Lithuanian writer. Okay. So the upcoming generations in the classes, I'll be teaching you this writer. They are randomly asked writer, but I will teach you. Okay, so up now question number 17. Arrange the following essays by T.S. Eliot chronologically. See, we have 4 essays. It's an easy question. I tell you, we don't teach 4th option. Generally, we don't teach. Eliot has written a lot of essays. So this is the randomly asked essay, but these 3 are free. Simple options. Around 1918, 1919, 1921. BCA is the perfect answer for you. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे देखो, this is the answer. Now I'll just confirm the dates. मैं दोबारा confirm भी कर देता हूँ. Okay. B is 1917, though it should have been 1918. Hamlet and its problems 1919. Metaphysical poets 1921. It's the easy one. मैंने revision नहीं किया बहुत टाइम से, वरना बिना देखे भी correct करता. थोड़ा सा ये mistake हुआ. So make sure you study, you go for revision. The next one, okay, the page got changed. हमें चाहिए अब question number 18. Poetry thus makes us immortal. All that is best and most beautiful in the world. First of all, it's a famous quote that poetry can make us immortal. It's a famous quote. It is directly from P.B. Shelley. ये P.B. Shelley से है, cross-checked है, सही है. Now, it's just a quote. You cannot apply any knowledge right now because it is related to romanticism, and all of these writers are romantic writers. So if you remember P.B. Shelley, you have read these things, you'll be going to answer these things. Let me see if I have any special point. It is from Defense of Poetry. I will admit that we generally don't teach defense of poetry. Shelley is not a proper critic. So अगर आप बोलो सर आपने नहीं पढ़ाया, I take my fault. Okay. Next अब पढ़ाएंगे. You did a mistake, that is okay. But you didn't learn from a mistake, that is not okay. So we are learning. Who said that there should be a first of all RPSC को बोलो फायर नहीं है 5 है. Okay. न जाने कितने बच्चे फायर एक्स के चक्कर में हो गए होंगे. See, now it was very tough. I tell you why. When I started, see, technically Aristotle is the one who defended this and other things. But when we were regularly searching, I was going in the depth to give you a perfect answer. I was struggling between Horace, Aristotle, and then there was a pressure from student side. बच्चे कह रहे थे सर जल्दी दो, जल्दी नहीं आता है. Had it been easy to solve the question on camera, every second person was doing that. You must have seen most of the teachers of English literature, they don't even teach without something in the hand. It's not that easy. So I tried my best to solve. Question number 19's answer, what did I find? I went for Aristotle. So I can be wrong. But मेरे according 99% Aristotle ही होगा. ठीक है? So go for Aristotle only. बाकी let them decide. Question number 20, easy hai, quite easy, because the title has been taken from Kubla Khan, and I teach these kind of things. I always teach my students that which title has been taken from which book. So the Road to Xanadu, it's J.W. Lowe's, John Livingstone Lowe's. It's quite simple. This is the right answer. Okay. Here we go for question number 21. Poetry is the first and last of all knowledge. It is as immortal as the heart of a man. See, it looks like that it is by P.B. Shelley, because this should be the second best option. Shelley said that poets are unacknowledged legislators of the world. But this is a tricky thing. Yes, we don't teach these kind of quotations. Who goes in the line by line description? Technically यार 4-6 महीने में एग्जाम होता है, आप इतना पढ़ा नहीं सकते, तो ऑब्वियसली हमने नहीं पढ़ा है. बट द राइट आंसर इज विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ. दिस इज फ्रॉम प्रीफेस टू लिरिकल बैलेड्स. ये वहां से लिया गया है. एंड आई टेल यू दिस थिंग दैट इफ आई यूज नॉलेज, William Wordsworth says, poetry is the first and last of all knowledge. If you remember, William Wordsworth developed his knowledge through nature. The time he stole the boat, the time he killed a wasp, the time he was, throwing stones at the birds, he was cursed by nature. Wordsworth always said that I have learned from nature. I have learned from literature, life. That's what he says. That poetry, the honest thing, something very pure, it can make you learn from things. And how the poetry comes? From the beautiful surroundings. This is the reason I'll quote a line, one of my favorite quote, and I've taken the reference also so that I can give you complete quote. One impulse from a vernal world may teach you more of man, of moral evil and of good than all the sages can. This is by Wordsworth. The tables turned. Question number 22nd. With the fast, and I didn't eat yesterday. Now I didn't eat anything today. It's not that easy. I'm surviving on tea and bananas. So the question number 22, a linguistic system is a series of difference of sounds combined with series of difference. Is who said this thing? First of all, a linguistic system. So this is the question from linguistics. Quite easy for you. How? F.R. Lewis, Alan Tate, they were not related to linguistics. Quite simple. F.R. Lewis, Alan Tate are the part of new criticism. They are not related. So now we got two options. Now, linguistic system is a series of differences of sound combined with a series of differences of ideas. Linguistic system connected to ideas was a theory by Ferdinand de Saussure. So the right answer is Ferdinand de Saussure. The line comes in course of general linguistic, and this guy is American linguistic, okay? American linguist. And the right answer is this one. I will give you complete explanation. I understand that 1 minute explanation cannot make you understand, but I also know you know my condition. I have to solve a lot of questions and I'm hungry. So question number 23, but there is a promise. I'll give you explained, videos on these things. A proper solve kar dunga अच्छे से. According to which school of thought the critic ought to be considered to create the finished work by his reading of it and not to remain simply an inert consumer of the ready-made products? Okay. According to which school of thought, okay ji, the critic ought to be considered to create the finished work by his reading. So जो critic है, critic को क्या करना है? Create करना है. Create is inverted comma. क्या करना है? Finished work by his writing of it. यानी by his reading of it. यानी कि writer has written the book. It is your job to read it, to find out the second meaning. This is reader response theory. The reader is the second author. Author has written the book, author is dead. The book goes to the reader. The reading habit, the readership, it also creates a message. The reader becomes the second author because he takes the message according to his wish. So the right answer is this. Technically reader की बात कर रहा है तो quite है. Ready-made product क्या है? Already जो book है. Reader response theory आएगा. इसके बाद question number 24. If you remember my lecture on Ben Jonson, I told you about this thing that Ben Jonson has written multiple prefaces, and prefaces are called discoveries, timber. The question is, discoveries made upon men and matter is a critical work of. See, according to options, Ben Jonson. But if they ask that Ben Jonson's followers, then it is Ben Jonson's followers. Ben Jonson wrote prefaces of his comedies. These prefaces were collected by his followers and published as discoveries. You know, I'm getting some kind of headache. That's the reason my face will be looking bad. थोड़ा स्लो पढ़ाता हूँ, थोड़ा स्लो. Quite easy, ये भी easy है, बहुत easy है, सब पढ़ा रखे हैं मैंने. T.S. Eliot's concept of tradition is countered by Harold Bloom, anxiety of influence. See, आज या after 5 साल, कभी भी. Ask me this, where did I read this book? When I was preparing for NET, I got this idea in my mind that every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it should be used. So I was in GSRI and I went to meet my friend. I called my friend. He said, I'm at top floor, I'm coming down. So I was waiting like this. There was a car. So I took the help of the car and I started reading Anxiety of Influence, 1973. That was my first ever connection with this writer. It came in the same exam. That's why it became a memory. So first of all, use your time, jahan tak pad sako, and remember this thing that Harold Bloom with Anxiety of Influence questioned the idea of tradition and individual talent. The right answer, the direct answer है ये, ठीक है. दूसरी चीज, अगर आपको और इसमें 4 चीजें डालनी है, so dissociation of sensibility इसका खुद का आइडिया है. Why would he question his own idea? Okay, affective fallacy ये लिटरेरी थ्योरी और हेरेसी ऑफ पैराफ्रेज थ्योरी का पार्ट है, न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म का पार्ट है, एंड टी.एस. एलियट वाज आल्सो कनेक्टेड टू न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म. इट्स जस्ट वन मैन हु इज गोइंग अगेंस्ट anxiety of influence. So you can also use that brain by connecting answers with the questions. Question number 26. The business of this poet is not to find new emotions, but to use the ordinary ones and in working them into a poetry to express feelings which are not in actual emotions at all. T.S. Eliot says this in which of his texts? So the question is, he is talking about theory of impersonality. वो कह रहा है आपके अपने इमोशन जो नए हैं वो नहीं आने चाहिए, so मिक्सअप नहीं होना चाहिए. Let's see अब वो इनमें से किस में कह रहा है. So it's not easy to find out every line. Obviously if I say that I have taught, no, we have talked about the content, we have talked. But if I say no, I have made my students read all the lines, no. Is it possible to read all the lines? No. So technically I'll give you the direct answer. क्या नंबर है क्वेश्चन का? 26. Tradition and individual talent. Direct answer. But yes, in future पढ़ लो, कभी काम आएगा. Which of question number 27? अब तो चक्कर से आ रहे हैं मेरे को. Question number 27. Which among the following books cannot be said to incorporate ideas similar to new criticism? My question to all the students is, incorporate का मतलब क्या होता है? What do you mean by incorporate? शामिल करना, कलेक्ट करना, making the part of it. Because you know, I understand this, that until unless you understand what exactly they are asking, you won't be able to answer. जब तक समझ ही ना आए. And मैं गांव से आया हूँ, हिंदी बैकग्राउंड से, सरकारी स्कूल, स्मॉल टाउन गांव वाला बैकग्राउंड. आई अंडरस्टैंड. क्वेश्चन ही समझ नहीं आता है, आंसर तो बात की बात है. तो भाई इनकॉर्पोरेट का मतलब शामिल करना होता है. एंड क्वेश्चन क्या कह रहा है? आइडिया सिमिलर टू न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म. So he says which among the following books cannot be said, नहीं कहा जा सकता है, to incorporate, to have the same ideas. New criticism से अलग थ्योरी कौन सी है? Principal literary criticism पार्ट है. William Emerson 7 types of ambiguity पार्ट है. Stephen Greenblatt, Catherine Gallagher's practicing new historicism ये अलग है. Well wrought earn भी पार्ट है न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म का. Now let's take the credit. ले लेता हूँ क्रेडिट, बनता है मेरा. न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म का लेक्चर याद है, पढ़ाया मैंने लिटरेरी थ्योरी में. आई हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट रिचर्ड्स, क्लींथ ब्रूक्स, विलियम एम्सन. डिड आई टॉक अबाउट दिस गाय इन न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म? नो, बिकॉज स्टीफन ग्रीनब्लैट इज द पार्ट ऑफ न्यू हिस्टोरिसिज्म. सो आपका राइट आंसर न्यू हिस्टोरिसिज्म होगा. दिस इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 27. लेट्स सी इफ आई हैव एक्स्ट्रा डिटेल्स फॉर यू. द बुक नंबर 4, दिस वन, दिस बुक फोकसेस ऑन 5 central aspects of new historicism. ये हम पढ़ाएंगे नेक्स्ट जो स्टूडेंट्स होंगे. 5 central aspects of new historicism, ये उनको पढ़ाया जाएगा. अच्छा, डिड आई टेल यू अबाउट क्वेश्चन नंबर 25? गोइंग बैक आई शुड टेल यू नो, बिकॉज मैंने आपके लिए आइडिया नोट किया हुआ है. आई टॉक्ड अबाउट एंग्जाइटी ऑफ इन्फ्लुएंस. इट इज द राइट आंसर. देयर इज अ डिटेल फॉर यू. सी, he criticized Eliot, dissociation of sensibility criticized किया, and he said that Eliot's approach was Eurocentric. So Harold Bloom criticized him, said that Eliot's approach was Eurocentric. Eliot was supported by an Indian philosopher, B.P.N. Sinha. B.P.N. Sinha, he was the one who helped Eliot in Indian philosophies. Eliot studied Sanskrit, Vedas. So there are 2 points. He criticized him, saying that Eliot was Eurocentric, and B.P.N. Sinha helped him. Okay, so that this is a new knowledge for you. You should note it. We have question number 28. किधर है? एक काम करते हैं, रेस्ट ले लेता हूँ. Guys, give me some rest. थोड़ा सा headache हो रहा है. Give me some rest. So guys, after the tea break, I'm back. And in the tea break, I was watching one more solution of RPSC. Somebody sitting in the corner of a screen and reading a lot of books and doing this. Oh, this should be right. This is not called solution. Solution is called this. Coming in front of you, just one paper and mostly minor details. Just 1-2 points. Ask the people to come like this and solve like this. It's quite easy to have multiple books and then to solve. असली मजा यहाँ पे है, स्क्रीन पे. और बहुत जल्दी we will solve almost all the net gate set papers. Subscribe this channel. बहुत solution आने वाले हैं. ठीक है, अभी तो शुरू किया है मैंने, खींच दिया मीटर. So we go for the next one. Question is easy, very easy. How? The most striking aspect of linguistic competence. How many of you remember my lecture on Noam Chomsky when I talked about language competence, language performance? Linguistic competence, linguistic performance. So, if you can understand with the phrase, you got the right answer. If you didn't understand with the phrase, and obviously, just taking one phrase as reference can be wrong. So, what does this say? What does he say? Is what we may call the creativity of language. What is creativity of language? You know a language, you are creative. You can create multiple kind of words, phrases, sentences. That is the speaker's ability to produce new sentence. So do you have a command over your language and you can speak up anything you want? Or you are just trained to speak up one thing? In Delhi Metro, it always says, Darwaje bain taraf khulenge. But can the same robot talk, side mein khada ho ja, bidi mat pi, ya tik ke baith ja? No. Because they are trained to speak one line. That is not language competence. Language competence is the way I'm talking to you. I spoke in English, I spoke in Hindi, I spoke in multiple accents, I spoke in Rajasthani style. That's called linguistic competence. So the one man is Noam Chomsky. He talks about the linguistic competence and performance. Competence is when you can create new sentences. You have the ability to create. This is the right answer. Easy question for all of us. And yes, padhaya hai maine. That's why I said it's easy. Postmodernist thinkers developed the concept of difference and hyperreality. How many of you remember the concept of hyperreality is also called simulation? See, postmodern idea hai, the idea of difference. If you have remembered Derrida, difference, it's quite easy. The first thing that will trouble you is if you understand what does this mean. Subvert. Subvert का मतलब क्या होता है? For example, suppose you know the answer but you couldn't understand subvert. To change it completely, to palat dena. The question is, difference and hyperreality का जो concept है, it has been developed to change the ideas of. See, these are postmodern styles. Why they are going to change the idea? What kind of idea they are going to change? See, myths and parables are being reread in postmoderns. Okay, this is the reason that we have myth criticism in moderns, postmoderns. Existing social phenomena. No, existing social phenomena belongs to every age. Every age has a social phenomena. So why would postmodern challenge this thing? This word, existing, means the present one. Why would they change it? They can change the previous ones. Then, critically acceptable knowledge. No, they do not change it, they accept it, and they dissect, diffuse, dissipate in order to get more. So technically, it is the grand narratives and university of being, because the great chain of being of Elizabethan concept, the reference, and the grand narratives of medieval literature, these things have been changed with the concept of hyperreality, because the great chain of being talks about the humanity, humankind, but this hyperreality makes you feel about your own existence, the virtual reality concept. And the grand narratives, even the narratives have multiple meanings. So direct answer is this one. ये quite easy है. अगर आपने पोस्ट मॉडर्न थोड़ा सा ठीक से पढ़ा हुआ है या आपने जो लेक्चर्स याद किए हुए हैं, it's quite easy for you. So question number 30, quite easy, already have taught, explained. Text is a gas, there is nothing out of the text. If you remember my lecture on Derrida, this is the right answer, and repeatedly asked question. It's not a random question, it's easy for all. Then, अगर आपके लिए वो easy नहीं है, तो you must prepare again. Question number 31. See, first of all, when I was solving the paper, I knew this, it was Judith Butler. But again, to be confirmed, I went through all the detail. Question number 31 is wrong. It should be the right answer, Judith Butler. Judith Butler is not given. आपको इसके नंबर मिल जाएंगे. This question's marks will be given to all, that I believe. Next one. Gayatri Spivak introduced a major concept of post-colonial theory through which minority groups, nationalities mobilize themselves on the basis of shared gender, cultural or political identity. Gayatri Spivak has talked about subalterns. Subalterns means people those who are not the part of mainstream. But even subalterns, she finds out the group, how they are connected to each other. See, they have some shared identities. See, the shared identities are the gender, cultural, political identity. If you remember my lecture, especially the present students, this strategic essentialism is the right answer. अगर आपको ये lecture सुना है, just one time only if you have heard, this is the right answer. Question number 33. What is an author? An essay is seen as a challenge to the Barth depiction of historical progression that will liberate the reader from the domination by the author. See, if we talk about author, and let's assume that I am attempting this. Talking about the author, I know that Michel Foucault has talked about the 4 types of author. What is an author? Is an essay by him. He talks about 4 authors. This is the right answer. Derrida doesn't talk about the author directly. Gilles Deleuze is a postmodernist, doesn't talk about the author directly. Virginia Woolf was mostly in feminist version of author. She doesn't question the author itself. So the direct answer is Michel Foucault. Let's see if I have some details for you. This is a lecture of 1969. What is an author? Okay. Then there is nothing else for you. Go for next one. Question number 34. Which of the following texts with the authors in 1, 2, you have to match it. So let's take the credit. पहले थोड़ा credit ले लेते हैं. काफी टाइम से credit नहीं लिया मैंने. See, if you remember my lectures on feminism, sexual textual politics by Toril Moy, I have taught. Female Inch by Germaine Greer, I have taught this one. If you can match, अगर ये दो match हो जाएं, A with G and B with E. A with G, B with E. Now the other two we didn't teach, but for future we're going to teach. अब हम भी पढ़ेंगे, हम भी पढ़ाएंगे. So other two even I had no idea. So I used my common sense. I remember this, I remember this. This was the answer for me. Anybody who is following my lectures will answer it. It's quite easy. Go for next one. The personal is political. ये slogan था. It was a slogan, also known as the private is political. The question is that the personal is political is a essay written by. So when I studied in depth, I tried to find it out. The right answer is Carol Hannes. It is option 2. Let's see if I have something extra for you. See, it is 1969 essay. Then it became a slogan. And then Carol Hannes, she gives the credit to Shulamit Firestone. She doesn't take the credit of coining this. So according to the answer, this is the answer, Carol Hannes, she gives the credit to others. So go for it. The next one, the next we have is Bhabha concept propounded by Homike Bhabha, postcolonial sign of double articulation. According to my preparation, just hearing this word double articulation, I know it is mimicry. Double articulation, somebody has spoken something, you are re-articulating the same thing, that is called copy, mimicry. सिर्फ यहीं पे आपका आंसर क्लियर हो जाता है. A strategy which appropriates the other as it visualizes power. See, visualizing power, appropriating and accepting it, just like the way we are copying European style, European dressing sense, European manners. This is the part of mimicry. Quite easy hai ye. This is not hybridity, this is mimicry. Okay. If I have something extra, I'll let you know. No, nothing. Ye kafi hai, simple. Mimicry. Then, how many of you remember my lectures, literary theory lectures, talking about Bakhtin? Remember the example I took? When two kids fight, they go to mother. One says, he hit me first. Second says, no, he hit me first. दो बच्चे लड़ाई करते हैं, मम्मी के पास जाते हैं, एक दूसरे पे आरोप लगाते हैं. This is the question. What word does Bakhtin use to describe the process through which meaning is evolved out of interaction among the author, the work and the reader? तीन चार लोग जब आपस में डिस्कशन करते हैं, author, work, reader, there is a kind of relationship. Author writes, work gets constructed, reader decodes it. Means technically multiple voices are there. That is called dialogism. Okay, this is the perfect answer, dialogism. Then again easy question, वो भी easy था, ये भी ये सब पढ़ा रखे मैंने. Individualism, experimentation, absurdity, symbolism किस movement के अंदर आते हैं? In which movement? If you remember symbolism, W.B. Yeats, modern writer, direct answer. Absurdity, the first absurd writers. If we talk about the theatre of the absurd, it primarily got in 1961. It was the essay. But the writers started dealing with these things from 1930s. Talking about Edward Albee, who is not a Virginia Woolf, or the Sylvia the Goat. So technically absurdity, the question of life, questioning itself, it became the part of moderns. Then individualism. See, remember my lecture? Virginia Woolf says in 1910 human character changed. From being the part of society, being the part of family, we shifted to a moment we started questioning individual behavior. 1900 interpretation of dreams, Freud, this are all modern things. ये सब modern में आता है. Experimentation with new techniques, imagism, then imagism के बाद जो Pylon poets हैं, Dymock poets, या जो poets of 1930s, Oxford, ये सब लोग जो हैं नए नए experiments कर रहे थे. It all became the part of modernist. Now you may ask, sir, why not postmoderns? Postmodern doesn't question individualism. Postmodern questions about being something else. It's not related to society, family or individuals. Second thing, postmodern is far in advanced way from symbolism. Postmodern is all about surrealism, hyper-reality. So they don't take the symbols available. They think about the reality which is not real. Reality which is not real, hyper-reality. So it's quite easy. I understand. I cannot explain in 1 or 2 minutes, but I'm sure you'll understand this, that I can explain it to you later. समय की कमी है, मुझे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने हैं. विद द कंडीशन जहाँ पे भी व्रत है और खाना नहीं खा रखा है, चाय का ब्रेक था. दैट वाज व्हाट इज द टर्म दैट फूको इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इज द ऑर्डर ऑफ थिंग्स which refers to the early unconscious structure, the production. कितना easy है यार. Okay, what is the term? So how many of you remember my lecture that Michel Foucault talked about the relation between power and knowledge? Power and knowledge relation. Now read it from that point of view. What is the term that Foucault introduces in the book The Order of Things, which refers to the orderly, remember, orderly unconscious structure underlying the production of knowledge. आपके दिमाग में जो knowledge है वो क्या है? How do you get knowledge? We learn from here, there, multiple sides. It gets structured, orderly structured, but all knowledge is random knowledge, unconscious. So the unconscious structures underlying the production of knowledge in a particular time and place. He's talking about the power structure with knowledge. He's questioning knowledge. Which word goes for knowledge? Episteme, epistemological approach, knowledge. जो हमारा ज्ञान है वो प्रॉपर ऑर्डर में नहीं होता है. We learn something from here, something from there, something from a rickshaw wala, something from a ferry wala. It all gets stored in ordered way, but technically everything is unconscious. That is our knowledge. That is episteme. ये आपका यहाँ पे right answer है. इसके बाद आपके next questions. Quite easy. The rest of the earth. पहला ही option है. International नाम का work है यहाँ पे. This work has a line. It is a left-wing song. As I am called one of those leftist people, so I know this thing. But for you, I believe it was tough. For you, I understand it was tough. Next one. Oppositional Aesthetics reading from the hyphenated space is a book about diasporics. Even I didn't know it. But yes, when I was working on Indian diaspora, I ignored this writer knowingly. I thought, yaar, itna kaun पूछेगा paper में. So I ignored, but they have asked. So next NET JRF student, GATE student, I'm going to teach all of you these things. उमा परमेश्वरन पहले भी पेपर में आ चुकी है. We're going to work on this one also. ये भी हम करेंगे. So this is the right answer. The next one. Who has coined the term backlash? If you remember my lecture on feminism, Susan Faludi, backlash. She said that the more we try to be feminist, it is going against us. Direct answer है, simple answer है from my lecture only. Susan Faludi, backlash. फेमिनिज्म का लेक्चर याद कर लो एंड रिमेंबर द पीडीएफ्स ऑफ थ्योरी दैट वी हैव शेयर्ड विद यू. पीडीएफ की थ्योरी में गो फॉर फेमिनिज्म वाला पेज. सेकंड टर्म इज बैकलैश. सेकंड टर्म मिल जाएगा आपको ये. थर्ड वन. विच अमंग द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट अ डायस्पोरिक राइटर? सी, आई नो दिस राइटर, ओके, आई डोंट नो दिस वन, आई डोंट नो दिस वन, सो लेट्स अज्यूम आपको भी नहीं आता है. डू वी नो दिस गाय, रेमंड विलियम्स? Raymond Williams is obviously not a diasporic writer. He's a cultural critic related to cultural materialism or cultural studies. It's quite simple and easy if you know Raymond Williams. If I have something extra for you, I'll let you know. Let me change the page. मैंने page भी change नहीं किया काफी time से. So, let me give you some extra knowledge. So the first thing, I'll be going back so that I can give you some extra knowledge. Because this is the main thing. I want to give you extra points. Which question number is this? 41, 38, 39, 41. Okay, here, 40, 41. So let's go for 41 once again so that you can make a point. Arun Prabha Mukherjee, she talks about the third world person, an ideal character, by taking reference from writings and films in the book. Okay, एक तो ये याद रखना. Question number 42. Susan Faludi is the right answer. The Undeclared War Against American Women is the famous book written by her 1991. Undeclared War Against American Women, 1991. That is the work where you can find this thing. Then we talk about this one. 40 number 3. See, William Safran has written Diaspora in Modern Societies. Note kar lo. Paul Gilroy has written The Black Atlantic, 1993, and his famous work is Modernity and Double Consciousness. Paul Gilroy. Robin Cohen, Global Diaspora, 1997. Right answer is Raymond Williams. But इनकी books के नाम याद कर लो. This is the best benefit when you solve the paper. Question number 44. Cultural materialism makes analysis based on the critical theory, the tradition of. सी कल्चर स्टडीज की अगर बात करेंगे, कल्चर स्टडीज या कल्चर मेटर्स वो डायरेक्टली कनेक्टेड टू फ्रैंकफर्ट स्कूल. सी शिकागो स्कूल वाज रिलेटेड टू न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म. प्राग वाज द प्राग लिंग्विस्टिक सर्कल. रिंजॉय स्कूल वाज अगेन द स्कूल रिलेटेड टू लिटरेरी स्ट्रक्चरलिज्म. दिस इज द स्कूल दैट डायरेक्टली कनेक्टेड टू कल्चरल मटेरियलिज्म, फ्रैंकफर्ट स्कूल. ये दो तो वैसे भी आपके ऑप्शन नहीं बनते, ये आपने सुना नहीं होगा. Who says of cultural materialism that it is the politicized form of historiography? See, this is a famous quote, but most of the people, they don't read it. That's why obviously they don't remember it. When I did the extensive reading, so I knew this thing that it's a famous quote, politicized form of historiography. What is culture? History जो आपकी चीज़ है, historical studies, इसको political point of view से develop कर लेना, that is culture. You just have to relate it to one man, Graham Holderness. Option 3 is the perfect answer. If I have something for you, I'll give it to you. Graham Holderness is called the biggest Shakespearean scholar. and he also did a Marxist study of D.H. Lawrence. शेक्सपियर का सबसे बड़ा स्कॉलर मानते हैं इसको. He has written 500 plus works on Shakespeare. Then question number 46. Avatar Bra has written a seminal book on diasporic called, see, Cartographies of Diaspora is the work. I searched it, मुझे भी नहीं आता था. सिंपल सी बात है, 1996 इन्होंने कहीं से कुछ भी उठा रखा है without even thinking कि do we teach this or not. So technically this paper has a great standard. Okay. अभी मैं देख रहा था किसी का सॉल्यूशन, उसने सॉल्यूशन करते बोल दिया ये भी हमारे यहाँ से आया है बहुत सारा पेपर, हमारे यहाँ से आया है बहुत सारा पेपर. तुमको बोलना बहुत सारा पेपर आपके यहाँ से आया है, तो बोर्ड पे जरा सॉल्व करो ना विदाउट लुकिंग एट मल्टीपल बुक्स. बोर्ड पे सॉल्व करो, फिर देखो पता चले कहाँ से है. पोस्ट मॉडर्निस्ट टिपिकली आर्ग्यू दैट. अब पोस्ट मॉडर्न्स क्या आर्ग्यूमेंट करते हैं सबसे पहले. सी, पोस्ट मॉडर्न्स, सो ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, मेक अ मैप. हु आर पोस्ट मॉडर्न्स? टिपिकली आर्ग्यू दैट यूनिवर्सलिस्ट नैरेटिव which attempt to explain the world are invariably false. ये कहते हैं कि ऐसे जो यूनिवर्सल नैरेटिव्स हैं जो एक्सप्लेन करते हैं वर्ल्ड व्यू, वर्ल्ड, दे आर ऑल फेक. दिस कैन बी द राइट आंसर, बट हम बाकियों पे चलते हैं. लेट्स गो फॉर अदर्स. द वर्ल्ड इज सोशली कंस्ट्रक्टेड इन अ वैरायटी ऑफ वेज. नो डाउट द वर्ल्ड इज बेस्ड ऑन मल्टीपल स्ट्रक्चर्स, बट दीज आर द पीपल दैट डोंट सपोर्ट इट. ये तो इसको कैंसिल करते हैं कि नहीं, वर्ल्ड में देयर इज नो मीनिंग. डिफरेंसेस ऑफ व्यू पॉइंट शुड बी सेलिब्रेटेड. नो, ये भी नहीं कहते. दिस इज ऑल्सो अगेन द पार्ट ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर. ग्रैंड नैरेटिव्स आर यूजफुल सोर्स ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. नो, नॉट एट ऑल. पोस्ट मॉडर्न्स आर पीपल हु क्वेश्चन एवरीथिंग एंड बिलीव दैट देयर इज नो श्योरिटी ऑफ मीनिंग. राइट आंसर इज the first one only. Question number 47, right answer is first one. Let's see if I have something extra for you. No, nothing extra. It's just that यही है आपका बस. अच्छा, याद रखना, पोस्ट मॉडर्न्स क्वेश्चन करते हैं हर चीज को. If you remember my lecture on deconstruction and the last line, transcendental signifier, where we see that we need a signifier which changes according to every situation. Otherwise, everything is based on a fake propaganda. I took a reference of Plato also teaching deconstruction. अगर आपको मेरा लेक्चर याद है, मैंने आपको कहा था कि प्लेटो ने कहा था that the world is fake. So deconstruction in transcendental signifier talks about the same thing, that the world is based off on a big lie and everything is based is a big lie. So they are questioning everything. ये कह रहा है हर वो चीज जिससे दुनिया बनी है, जिसके आप एक्सप्लेन करते हो वर्ल्ड क्या है, वो सब गलत है. तो राइट आंसर है ये. क्वेश्चन नंबर 48. फ्री का आंसर है, फ्री में आएगा. सिंपल आंसर. ऑल लिबरल फेमिनिस्ट, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लिबरल वर्ड यूज हुआ है, नॉट रेडिकल. रेडिकल आर द कट्टर फेमिनिस्ट. कट्टर फेमिनिस्ट, हु आर कट्टर फेमिनिस्ट? Shulamit Firestone, 1972, Dialectic of Sex. She said pregnancy should be transferred to men. Or there are a lot of feminists. They must have, you must have seen. They are asking people to go through labor pain, pregnancy, to feel it. No doubt, one should feel the pain. But the question is, who are liberal feminists? Liberal feminists are those who always take the support of men also. They believe that the ideals of feminism cannot be achieved until unless the male society is supporting it. So let's see क्या बोलते हैं. Advocate means support करना. Equal treatment in the public sphere. The liberal feminists will say that just give us respect. We are equal to you. Okay? The strict segregation of the sex. No, male is male, female is female. It should be strict. No, liberal feminist doesn't do that. Discrimination in economic terms only. Liberal feminist kabhi nahi bolta. She is feminist, so she will never say that there are disparities. She is always equal. No role in political matters. No. The Katra feminists say that why are you having political roles? Liberal feminist simply says that just give us equal treatment in public sphere, means everywhere. Har jagah. Okay? This is the simple answer. Free ka answer hai. Question number 49. The post-structuralist orientation to history is now emerging in literary studies. I characterize chiastically as a reciprocal concern with the historicity of text and the textuality of history. It's a statement by quite simple. बहुत ही सिंपल है, गूगल किया था मैंने, मुझे भी नहीं आता, सिंपल। लुइस मॉन्ट्रोस सही है, मैं देख लेता हूं कुछ और है मेरे पास तो। यस, लुइस मॉन्ट्रोस वाज अ लिटरेरी क्रिटिक, लेफ्ट इट, बिकेम अ फुल टाइम फोटोग्राफर। ये राइटर अपना सारा करियर छोड़ के अब एक फुल टाइम फोटोग्राफर बन गया। कमेंट कहां से आया है पता नहीं, लीव इट, आई एक्सप्लेन इट इन फर्दर लेक्चर्स। सो व्हाट आई एम आस्किंग यू टू लीव इज नॉट समथिंग लेफ्ट बाय मी, मैंने तो करना ही करना है। आई विल टीच यू एवरीथिंग, ये सब चेंज होगा। क्वेश्चन नंबर 50, थकान सी भी हो गई है बट ये है कि वी हैव टू कंप्लीट जितना कर सकते हैं। हु फर्स्ट वेलकम्ड अस टू द डेजर्ट ऑफ द रियल, इट्स अ फ्रेज। मैट्रिक्स मूवी देखी है आपने, कीनू रीव्स की, जॉन विक वाला, उसका जो मूवी है मैट्रिक्स, उसमें रेफरेंस है। एंड द डेजर्ट इज रियल इज एक्चुअली अ फ्रेज दैट आल्सो अपीयर्स इन सिमुलेक्रा सिमुलेशन। सो रीड द क्वेश्चन वंस अगेन। Who first welcomed us to desert of the real? See, यहां पे जीन बॉड्रिलार्ड है, this one, this is the perfect answer, Jean Baudrillard. Now listen to this thing, the first person who talked about this thing is Baudrillard, simulacra simulation. This is also the name of the book, The Desert of the Real. मैं ये भी आपको ऐड करवा देता हूं। This is also the name of the book written by Slavoj, S-L-A-V-O-Z Z-I-Z-E-K, Slavoj Zizek. It's a book on 9/11, September 9, 9/11 2001 attack. ये बुक का नाम भी है। क्वेश्चन नंबर 51 कहाँ है? थोड़ा सा आपको लग रहा होगा ना डिसोरिएंटेड थकान की वजह से, बट आज जब तक करेंगे नहीं तब तक चलते हैं। Who seeks an assumed binary opposition? Yes, binary opposition. I have taught Roland Barthes, I have taught binary opposition. So सुनते ही आपको कहां पे जाना है? रोलैंड बार्स पे। सब लोग खुश? नो, रोलैंड बार्स सही आंसर नहीं है। I'll tell you why. This is the mistake sometimes people do. As assumed binary opposition in an author's narrative, then rereads the text against the author's wishes from the perspective of the marginalized position, finally showing that the correct interpretation is undecidable. See, you are reading a text, okay, and you have assumed binary position in an author's narrative. You have understood that the author's narrative is different. You also read against author's wishes. You read the text. Actually, the author's idea and reader's reading, these things are having interrelationship. Author is trying to say something else, reader is trying to read in something else. They are not getting the final moment where they can decide. Undecidability. This is undecidable. Remember the lecture of aporia. The right answer is Derrida. It is said by Derrida. Derrida is actually talking about aporia concept. Remember my lecture on deconstruction? When I said there are two t-shirts you want to buy and you're not able to get one clear idea. That's aporia. Direct answer है deconstruction का। और एक चीज ऐड कर देता हूं, ये एक वेबसाइट से कॉपी मारा है, कोई funtrivia.com है, बट दैट डजंट मीन कि तुम वहां जाके अब ढूंढने लग जाओगे अरे सर ये भी आएगा क्या। क्वेश्चन कॉपीड है ये। Who wrote that panopticism? आज ही स्टेटस लगाया मैंने पब्लिक नंबर पे, सीसीटीवी वाला। Who wrote that panopticism is a one-way power knowledge relationship between those under surveillance and the watchers who could not be watched. Relation of power and knowledge, clue आ रहा है, power knowledge relationship। चलो, leave the clue, leave the clue। Tell me this, how many of you remember my lecture on panopticon? Panopticon का lecture, remember? I have taught Michel Foucault. He is the one who has developed the proper theory of panopticism, panopticon. Let's see the options. We have Michel Foucault, who has developed the modern concept of panopticon with power and knowledge. Remember the last question we solved किया था, power and knowledge relationship, panopticon relationship. So we have Michel Foucault as the perfect answer. It could have been Jeremy Bentham अगर सिर्फ basic question होता, but they are also talking about the power knowledge relationship. Quite easy, Michel Foucault. Question number 53, which one of the following is not one of the Ellen Schwartz's 4 models of sexual difference? Biological difference उसके models में है। Ellen Schwartz is mother of feminism. It's one of the best writer towards the feminist poetics लिखा है। It's an easy book, we have explained it. हम तो पढ़ाते ही हैं, कोई भी पढ़ाता है। सो आई वोंट टेक एनी क्रेडिट। बायोलॉजिकल डिफरेंस होता है, यस, मेन फीमेल जो है उसका डिफरेंस क्या है, पहला डिफरेंस बायोलॉजिकल। सेकेंड लिंग्विस्टिक, हिंदी आता है, आती है, लिंग्विस्टिक डिफरेंस है जेंडर को। कैन वी आइडेंटिफाई जेंडर विद द लिंग्विस्टिक डिफरेंस? यस, एटलीस्ट इन हिंदी लैंग्वेज। Psychoanalytic, the thought approach of a lady, the thought approach of a male, these are the parts. But occasionally, do you divide women and men occasionally? Sometimes you call your friend, no, you are a female. Then you call your friend, no, you are a male. Is it occasionally? No, not at all. So this is the one which is odd. This one is the right answer, not. Okay. And yes, if you want to know the fourth one, कि सर आप बताइए दो fourth वाला है, तो I have searched it for you. पेज पलट लो थोड़ा, कौन सा था फोर्थ वाला, कहाँ गया? कल्चरल, यस, फोर्थ इज कल्चरल। मैन एंड वुमेन डिफरेंस कल्चरल भी होता है। ओके, नाउ वी गो फॉर द नेक्स्ट वन। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट इज ट्रू ऑफ द ईगो अकॉर्डिंग टू फ्रॉइड? id, ego, super ego, conscious, unconscious, pre-conscious. So we're going to talk about ego according to Freud. क्या चीज सही है? First of all, it exists prior to the id. No, id first, ego second, super ego third. So ये गलत है, wrong. It follows the pleasure principle. No, 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 no. Pleasure principle ये नहीं follow करता है. Ego never follows it. It follows the reality principle. It lends its libidinal energy to superego. Yes, ये है, because ego provokes superego. This goes, it lends its libidinal energy to superego. This is the right thing. It is not affected by reality, logic or the. No, it is based on ये reality concept जो reality है उस पे based होता है ego. It is very much based on reality principle. So the right answer is 3. Let's see if I have something for you. 54, nothing, कुछ नहीं, बस यही है. Remember this thing, ego is based on reality principle. But yes, I'll give you a detailed lecture on this thing for the further classes in future. ये आपको और अच्छे से पढ़ा दूंगा. I am getting an idea because Rajasthan Public Service Commission has, you know, raised the standard, raised the bar. So we have to prepare like that. Feminist criticism doesn't. Okay, feminist criticism doesn't. आगे क्या? Concern with the marginalization of women in a patriarchal culture. ये तो है. They are saying no. Feminist criticism क्या नहीं करता? What does feminist criticism don't do? But this is done. ये तो करते ही हैं. Try to explain how the subordination of women is reflected in our challenge by literary text. Yes. Try to examine the experience of women from all races, classes. Yes. ये तो है. Explain how and when women become responsible mothers. I think it's the easiest one. Okay. Do you think feminism teaches you how to become good mothers, caring mothers? No, obviously no. That's the right answer for you. ये तो free का question है. Which of the following is not one of the concepts explored by Freud? It was very much tough for me to explain, to search. Why? Because obviously Oedipus complex Freud has studied, unconscious Freud has studied, slips. Slip is slip of tongue, parapraxis, if you remember my lectures. It's myth which is not studied by him. It's studied by other writers, other people. We already have studied myth criticism. Question number 57. Which is not a book written by Sigmund Freud, The Interpretation of Dreams, लिखा है. Studies in Hysteria, The Future of Disillusion, The Civilization and its Discontents. ये देखना पड़ेगा मुझे क्योंकि मैंने कुछ तो किया होगा. Okay. The Future of Disillusion is by G.A. Cohen. This is the answer. G.A. Cohen. This is the answer. And obviously randomly asked book है. कहीं से कुछ भी पूछा है. They wanted कि आपको ना आए और वो नहीं, वही हुआ होगा. सही. एक बात बोलूं आप सबकी तरफ से, ये जितने लोग आपका पेपर सेट करते हैं ना, all those who are setting your paper, इनको बोलो सर जरा ना, विनीत पांडे सर है दिल्ली में, वो कह रहे थे मेरा क्लास का एक टेस्ट पेपर मैं सेट करता हूं, जरा देखो. What is your intention? Why are you asking unnecessary, randomly asked questions? I've taught in University of Delhi, 8 बार नेट, डबल JRF, 17 सेट, न जाने कितने पेपर सॉल्व किए for my own preparation, from DSSB to PG paper to TGT paper to NET, JRF, DU, JNU, जामिया, MPhil, सब सॉल्व कर रखे हैं मैंने for my own learnings. Have contact with big professors. I am telling you, ये सब नहीं सुने मैंने नाम जो unnecessary हैं. If these names are something new for me. Imagine a small town boy and girl. अगर राजस्थानी में आपसे बोलूं तो भाई साहब थारे से का मजाक करने लग रहे हैं, केड़ा के पूछने लग रहे यार, कठा लिया हुआ है। मन पूछोगे भाई जी क्यों परेशान कर रहे हो, अभी बेरोजगारी बहुत है, मन नौकरी की जरूरत है, क्यों मजा लेने लग रहे हो। और जब मजा ही लेना है तो थारो पेपर मैं बनवा दूं, विनीत पांडे सर ने कह गए मैं पेपर बनवा के थान दे दिया, थारो नॉलेज चेक कर लिया। यार मजे ले रहे हैं आपके साथ, ये क्या अननेसेसरी पेपर, व्हाई दिस इज रैंडमली आस्क्ड, फेल करने के लिए क्या मजाक बना रखी है। आई एम नॉट हैप्पी विद दिस, आई एम फ्रॉम राजस्थान, आई नो द स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर। हमारे यहाँ टीचर्स को भी कुछ नहीं आता, नो ऑफेंस, टीचर्स को मौका नहीं मिला पढ़ने का, बुराई नहीं कर रहा हूँ टीचर्स की, बट हमारे टीचर्स भी वही हैं जो वहीं आसपास की कॉलेज से पढ़े हुए हैं। क्या पेपर दे रखा है आपको, ये चाहते हैं आप फेल हो जाओ। आई टोल्ड माई स्टूडेंट, जिसका ये पेपर है, ब्रिलियंट स्टूडेंट है, आई टोल्ड हर दैट तुम्हें कोई कॉम्पीट नहीं कर सकता, क्योंकि तुम मेरे साथ पढ़ तो रही हो लेकिन तुमने अपना इतना मेहनत किया है, इतनी मेहनत की तुम्हारी, नोबडी विल कम्पीट यू। आई टोल्ड हर कि तुम्हें मुश्किल से कोई 2-4 लोग कम्पीट करेंगे, अदरवाइज कोई नहीं करेगा। पेपर ही ऐसा रैंडमली उठा के पेपर दे दिया है। Representation of the world like the world itself is the work of men. They describe it from their one point of view which they confuse with absolute truth. Okay, I tell you what happens. जब पेपर मैं अटेम्प्ट करता हूँ, मुझे कई बार ऐसे क्वेश्चन समझ नहीं आता ना, I'll be like leave it, थोड़ी देर के लिए शांत हो जाऊंगा, इधर उधर देख लूंगा, फिर दोबारा से रीड करूंगा। अब दोबारा पढ़ते हैं। Representation of the world, okay जी, like the world itself is the work of men. They describe it from their one point of view, which they confuse with absolute truth. This is the statement by. See, representation of the world like the world itself is the work of men. पहले ही यहाँ पे इन्होंने बोल दिया कि दुनिया कैसी है, उसका क्या रिप्रेजेंटेशन है, ये सिर्फ मेन कर रहा है, यानी कि फेमिनिस्ट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से है। They describe it from their own point of view, यानी कि मेल पेट्रियार्की पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से है, फेलोगोसेंट्रिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से कि मेन अपने अकॉर्डिंग करता है, which they confuse with absolute truth. So technically they are all feminist writers except one. Directly देखा जाए तो इसके अंदर हम बात कर रहे हैं फेलोगोसेंट्रिसिज्म, लैंग्वेज, सोसाइटी, कल्चर developed by men, and this is a concept which was developed by Simone de Beauvoir. This line is from The Second Sex, where she says a woman is not born but becomes, because it is the society, man-made society, male-dominated society, male perspectives. तो ये यहाँ पे easy question है, ये men के point of से बात कर रहे हैं। See, Freud didn't talk about feminism too much, like directly. Mary Wollstonecraft didn't speak too much this kind of thing. She said, give us jobs, give us duties. Ellen Showalter was the first kind of feminist. She talked about the equality, but not questioned the ideology of the men, social structure of the men. So we just have one radical feminist, Simone de Beauvoir, the French feminist, radical feminist. This is the perfect answer. And the line comes from Second Sex, 1949. Question number 59. In the imaginary order, the subjects, free का question है, पढ़ाया हुआ है. The imaginary order, we're talking about the Jacques Lacan concept. Subject's own image permanently catches and captivates the subject. Subject's own image. You are outside, image is inside. They're talking about mirror stays. Remember my example, when a baby looks at the mirror for the first time, he's captivated looking at the image, and then he understands the concept of difference. He finds his unified whole. Easy hai, padha rakha hai ye. Next one, of grammatology by Derrida, opens with a preface and excursive. The preface outlines the structure of the text, and the text, the theoretical matrix, by reading of Age of Rousseau. I had to search it. I'm not taking any claim. इतना कौन पढ़ता है कि ग्रामेटोलॉजी का प्रेफेस कहाँ से है, तो इतना मैंने नहीं पढ़ा. ये रूसो आंसर सही है, सिंपल सी चीज है. उसके बाद देखो क्वेश्चन नंबर 61. People know what they do, frequently they know why they do what they do, but what they don't know is what they do. ऐसा क्वेश्चन आए तो सबसे पहले तो साइड बैठ कर रोने लग जाओ. क्या है? No, this is the thing. You know, बहुत बुरा लगता है. I feel really bad when my friends and others they say, यार लिटरेचर ही तो है, कहानी ही तो पढ़नी है, कविता ही तो है, तुम्हारे बड़े मजे हैं यार, तुम तो नॉवेल पढ़ के पास हो जाते हो, तुम तो ड्रामा पढ़ के पास हो जाते हो. सो शुरू में तो आई यूज्ड टू फाइट, नो लिटरेरी थ्योरी वेरी टफ. नाउ आई लाइक या हम तो नॉवेल पढ़ते हैं, हम तो पोइट्री पढ़ते हैं. समझ में आ रहा है? People know what they do, frequently they know why they do what they do, but what they don't know is what they do does. सिंपल आंसर है भैया, 61 का मैं दे देता हूं, ढूंढ के कहां है. Madness and Civilization, 1961. Question copied from a website. This is the right answer. Who said that? I'm sure you're enjoying the paper with me. Who said that who speaks is not who writes and who writes is not who is? See, technically they're talking about the writer, the process of writing in the text and then the reading ship. Who speaks is not who writes and who writes is not who is. See, somebody who speaks creates the idea, develops it and then writes. So they are two different things. The writer and the author and the person who has the idea to write, the speaker, they are two different things. They are simply studying the author approach. Author को पढ़ा जा रहा है, author oriented approach है. Direct answer Foucault and Barthes में से एक हो सकता है. Derrida didn't talk about author, he talked about text only. Homiki Bhabha was a post-colonial writer. Now the question is, here talking about the author, either Foucault or this one. And here I tell you the right answer, it is Roland Barthes. Barthes was the one who created the image of the author, who exactly is called the perfect author, who actually should be called the author, the one who has the ideas or the one who writes. Because the person, when you write it, in the process of writing also you are a different person. I'll tell you how. You have a lot of knowledge, you carry yourself, you go to the interview. The moment you enter in the room, you are the same person outside, but in the room you're talking and you're a different person. So having the idea to write and exactly the process of writing are two different things. Still, let's see if I have something for you. So I have this line has been taken from the Death of the Author. Death of the Author se liya gaya hai. Who was the first to propose a science-focused study? Kahan pe hai? Who was the first to propose a science focused on the study of science? Sign ko padhne wala. So there should be the right answer, C.S. Peirce. C.S. Peirce is not there. We don't have the option. So remember, if you have studied semiotics, sign theory. Where did you study sign theory? With Ferdinand de Saussure, the Swiss-French linguist. He is the one who studied the sign theory from scientific point of view. Now the options are Barthes. No, he didn't talk about science. Jacques Derrida. Barthes talked about the binary references. Okay. Jacques Derrida. No, he didn't talk about the science. He talked about the language differences. Vladimir Propp found various structures of story narrations. Just one answer, clear answer, direct answer. If I have something for you, no. When these are simple answers, I didn't write anything for you. When there are tough answers, I have a lot to tell you. So guys, question number 64. Who argued that the literary critic's relationship to literary discourse is the same as linguist's relationship to the language? So first of all, somebody who is talking about a critic or the author and text relationship, author-text relationship or the critic's-text relationship, and also compare it to a linguist with language. So let's see. We have the options. Vladimir Propp related to Russian formalism, simply related to the narratology concept. Then Roman Jakobson related to Russian formalism. These two are the wrongest answer. So go for the wrongest answer. If you remember my lecture of Russian formalism, you'll also find that Zavitin Todorov is also a Russian formalist. Three of these people are actually studying only the language discourse, alienation concept. None of them reads or relates from the relationship of the text or the writer. टेक्निकली क्रिटिक टेक्स्ट रिलेशनशिप इनमें से किसी का टॉपिक नहीं है. अगर आपको मेरा रशियन फॉर्मलिज्म का लेक्चर याद है तो आपका परफेक्ट आंसर रोलैंड बार्ट्स आपके सामने है. प्लस मैं आपको इसमें देखता हूं मेरे पास कुछ क्लू है कि नहीं है. सो इसमें कोई क्लू नहीं है, सिर्फ इतना सा है कि ये क्वेश्चन एक वेबसाइट से कॉपीड है. ओके, क्वेश्चन नंबर 65 ये भी 65 ये भी एक वेबसाइट से कॉपीड है. Claude Lévi-Strauss gave a structural reading of which famous story? Thanks to my University of Delhi background, I attended a seminar. This is Oedipus Rex. Lévi-Strauss did a study of Oedipus the Rex. I have the details for you. इसमें the structural analysis of myth is the work where he talks about Oedipus the Rex, and this has been copied from the website, some particular website. Question number 66. Towards the feminist poetics, Ellen Showalter introduces the word to construct a female framework. Framework means it's all about everything about women. It's female framework, right? So talking about Ellen Showalter, which word can talk about complete female framework? Comparative criticism? No. How does it is related to women? No. Expressive criticism? No. Mimetic criticism, classical style? No. Gynocriticism, do you know gynocentric studies, gynocriticism? Easy question hai. If you remember my feminisms lecture, it's simple. She has written towards a feminist poetics. It's quite simple. Question number 67. Which among the following is a common convention of postmodern writing? Let's see, we are talking about postmoderns. Postmodern writing का common convention क्या है? Common tradition. Straightforward plots and realistic situations. नो. पोस्ट मॉडर्न्स हैं, रियलिस्टिक और सिंपल चीज तो लिखते नहीं, स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड तो लिखते नहीं है. क्लियर एंड ऑब्वियस मीनिंग? नो, नॉट एट ऑल. वो विक्टोरियंस होते थे. अ रिस्पेक्ट फॉर प्रीवियस स्टाइल एंड कन्वेंशंस? नेवर. पोस्ट मॉडर्न डिडंट रिस्पेक्ट प्रीवियस थिंग्स, इट क्वेश्चनड एवरीथिंग. Metafiction? Yes, postmodern style है metafiction. Fiction about fiction. Remember Lucy Pirandello, 6 characters in search of author. I already have explained it to you. Intertextuality, the concept of Julia Kristeva. This is the right answer. ये आपका सही आंसर है. Question number 68. Which collection of essay by new historians focus on the romantic phase? I must tell you this was a tough question for me also. मुझे काफी ढूंढना पड़ा. These are, in-depth questions. So obviously being a student, even if you're professors, I bet 99 professors won't answer this. मतलब बिना ढूंढे. So even I had to search. मैंने भी बहुत ढूंढा है. ढूंढते ढूंढते we reached here 68. Let's see if I have something for you. पेज चेंज कर लूँ. मुझे पेज बदलने की जरूरत भी नहीं पड़ रही काफी देर से. Question number 68. The Romantic Ideology, a critical investigation written by Jerome J. McGann. Jerome J. Mac, M-A-C-G-A-N-N. And this one is the study of Wordsworth and Coleridge. This is the right answer. Question number 69. Homi Bhabha's essay, The Commitment to Theory is a Defense of. Post-structuralist theories particularly? No. First of all, Homi Bhabha post-structuralism से related नहीं है. He's a post-colonial critic. A critic of post-structuralists? No. दोनों में post-structuralism है? No. Attestation of liminality and ambivalence. Ambivalence, liminality concept post-colonial से related है. And then this one, a critique of post-colonial theory of the subaltern. Now we read the question again. The Commitment to Theory, it's an essay, and this essay is directly connected to this post-colonial theory of subalterns, because Bhabha, Spivak and others, they all spoke for marginalized voices. So if you remember Bhabha's concept of space, national narration, and second thing, Bhabha's idea of marginalized people. You simply answer this thing. Easy question है, ये आंसर होगा. इसके बाद आपके क्वेश्चन आते हैं. We go back to here, this page. In postmodern blackness, bell hooks argues that postmodern theory is good for maintaining status quo. Status quo means present situation. So postmodern blackness, feminist study plus black feminist point of view. Bell hooks says postmodern theory is good for. No, not for present situation. They don't speak up something clearly. Critiquing essentialism, legal practice. What is the connection of postmoderns with legal practice? Obviously wrong answer. Critiquing language. No, postmoderns were not after the language only. Okay. Just one option बचा है आपके लिए. Critiquing essentialism. Essentialism is something which was essence, which was base, and postmodern questions all the traditions. Essentialism means traditions. Postmodern questions it. Again, easy answer for you. अगर आपको लगता है कि सर की तरह ही पेपर सॉल्व करना सीखना है तो बहुत पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Okay. So guys, we have solved around some 70 questions, and थोड़ा सा अभी this is a session which is going on longer, and I'm taking some gap. We'll go for the second session of solutions. Along with this, I want to tell you, see, no doubt the questions are toughest. But those who have prepared well, those who have proper material, those who have proper guidance, they have performed. ऐसा नहीं है कि इस एग्जाम में पूरी दुनिया फेल हो जाएगी, पूरा राजस्थान फेल होगा. नहीं, there are people who are going to qualify this. If you want to be one of them, just choose your teacher. Where do you want to learn? Where do you want to understand? And I have also got some learnings. It's not only the youth who are learning. I'm also learning. My learning is some new topics, some new references, some new quotations. I will work on these things and I will share it with every new student joining us. Along with these things, I'm also going to solve Kerala set, Karnataka set, last West Bengal set, Gujarat set, net papers, gate paper is already solved, will be uploaded soon. Multiple references, PhD papers, MPhil papers. In short, I have decided that I will go for maximum paper solutions. So it will help you to understand how to solve a paper. It will give you multiple references, and soon I will put more quality in it. Right now I'm busy in my construction, then busy with this vrat of 9 days, Navratra. So this is the reason I couldn't give my 100% quality. I still have to continue because these are long questions. But once you are the part of the proper classes, you will be getting complete explanation of everything. Share this video with everyone. Now I want to talk to my Rajasthani students. So बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और दूसरा पार्ट जल्दी अपलोड कर दूंगा. बाकी थे सारा सगा शेयर करो, मन बताओ कि वो भाई आपने हनुमानगढ़ को है और पेपर सॉल्व करे करा है. धन्यवाद. राम राम.